The football world has been rocked by an unprecedented controversy that has reached the highest levels of British government. In a decision that has sparked outrage across the political spectrum, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans have been banned from attending their Europa League match against Aston Villa next month. But this isn't just any ordinary football dispute. This is a story about safety, politics, and the deep divisions that are tearing through British society. The bombshell announcement came on Thursday when Aston Villa confirmed that no away fans would be permitted at Villa Park for the November 6th fixture. The decision was made by Birmingham's Safety Advisory Group, a body responsible for issuing safety certificates for matches. But the reasoning behind this ban has sent shockwaves through Westminster and beyond. West Midlands Police classified the fixture as high risk, citing current intelligence and previous incidents. The shadow of Amsterdam looms large over this decision. Last season, when Maccabi Tel Aviv played Ajax in the Dutch capital, violent clashes erupted that saw 62 people arrested. The scenes were chaotic, with hate crime offenses and violent confrontations that left authorities deeply concerned about similar incidents occurring on British soil. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Prime Minister Keir Starmer didn't just express disappointment with this decision. According to Downing Street sources, he was absolutely furious. A spokesperson revealed that the Prime Minister has been angered by this news, describing it as the wrong decision. This isn't diplomatic language. This is raw political anger from the highest office in the land. The Prime Minister's response was swift and categorical.
So there you are. So what was this statement that was given by the civil servant? Well, Collins said, "It is important for me to emphasise, however, that the UK government is committed to pursuing a positive relationship with China. The government's position is that we will cooperate where we can, compete where we need to, and challenge where we must." And that bore a remarkable similarity to the Labour manifesto of 2024, which said, we will cooperate where we can, compete where we need to, and challenge where we must. So, what is going on here? Is it that this government, and many would argue actually the government before and much of the British establishment have gone just completely soft on China? But the nub of this is, did the Prime Minister mislead the House? Please give me your thoughts.
He declared that the role of police is to ensure all football fans can enjoy the game without fear of violence or intimidation. In a pointed statement, he emphasized that Britain will not tolerate anti-Semitism on its streets. These aren't just words from a politician trying to manage a crisis. This is a prime minister drawing a line in the sand, though questions are now emerging about whether his government's position on this matter has been entirely consistent. The political fallout has been immediate and intense. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch branded the decision a national disgrace, while government ministers scrambled to find a way to reverse what many see as an unprecedented restriction on football fans. The criticism isn't coming from just one side of the political aisle. This decision has united politicians across the spectrum in condemnation. The opposition has seized on this controversy with fierce determination.
What was an issue in the trial is not the position of the current government, the position of the last government. And they carefully avoided describing China as an enemy because that was their policy at the time. Mr. Speaker, so far as the position under this government is concerned, no minister or special advisor was involved. And I will double-check this because I've had it. I will double-check this. So, Mr. Speaker, this is important. After the charging decision, the prosecution were very careful about who would then see the witness evidence. I will double-check, Mr. Speaker, exactly what instruction was taken. But my answer, I can be absolutely clear, no minister was involved, no special advisor was involved in this, and I'm assured as I can be that the prosecution was saying that it would be the witnesses only that were involved in short updates, the evidence that was submitted under the last government.
That's not good enough.
Mr. Speaker, the end of the answer was different from the beginning of the answer. What on earth is the point of us having a lawyer rather than a leader as the Prime Minister if he can't even get the law right on a matter of national security?
During heated exchanges in Parliament, Conservative MPs have challenged the government's handling of security matters and questioned whether ministers have been forthright about their involvement in key decisions affecting public safety. The intensity of these confrontations reflects the high stakes involved in this crisis, but the controversy deepens when we examine the timeline of events. The UK Football Policing Unit has revealed that the Home Office was briefed last week about potential restrictions on visiting fans. This raises serious questions about what the government knew and when they knew it. If ministers were aware of the possibility of such restrictions, why didn't they act sooner to prevent this diplomatic and sporting embarrassment? The international dimension of this crisis has become increasingly apparent.
Where's the United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice that you're here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others.
Oh dear, I think he thought he was going to have his little moment and he was going to speak. You're not speaking, Keir. You had nothing to do with it. In fact, the likes of Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron from France, our own Prime Minister Albanese, really, they did not help this peace deal. They, if anything, set it back. And Marco Rubio made that point, didn't he? That every time one of them would pull a stunt, recognise the Palestinian state, the Palestinians would walk away from the negotiating table.
This moment, from a leadership perspective, belongs to President Trump. Everybody knows it, whether they admit it with celebration or they admit it begrudgingly. But you'll find these other people who want to sort of just steal a little bit of the credit. It's these world leaders. It's the Biden administration people were all over TV yesterday saying how they came up with the framework and they're glad to see that Trump and his team implemented the framework they were the originators of. So they're all kind of trying to do that. But everyone knows, and that's why you see him really seizing this moment. And if I were Keir Starmer, I might have come up with something a little bit different, like half a step back, stay in the frame, as opposed to completely turning his back and going that way. That didn't look good.
Foreign governments have weighed in on Britain's handling of this situation, with some world leaders expressing disappointment at what they see as the UK's failure to protect visiting fans. The diplomatic ramifications extend far beyond football, touching on Britain's reputation as a safe and welcoming destination for international visitors. The response from Downing Street suggests a government caught off guard by the severity of the decision. Ministers and local officials are now working with police to try and amend this decision, with discussions happening at pace across government. Communities Secretary Steve Reed has been in contact with Birmingham City Council, while the Home Office has been speaking directly with West Midlands Police. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has also joined the efforts, meeting with officials to discuss what more can be done to find a way through this crisis. The human impact of this decision cannot be understated. Emily Damari, a British Israeli who was held captive by Hamas for over a year before being released in January, has spoken out about how this ban affects her personally. As a supporter of both Maccabi Tel Aviv and Tottenham Hotspur, she described being shocked to her core by this outrageous decision. Her words cut to the heart of what many see as a fundamental issue of fairness and equality. Football, she argued, is a way of bringing people together irrespective of their faith, color, or religion. This decision, in her view, does the exact opposite. These aren't just the words of an angry fan, these are the words of someone who has experienced the very worst of human conflict and still believes in the power of sport to unite rather than divide. The Jewish Leadership Council has also weighed in, describing the situation as perverse. They argue that away fans should not be banned from a football match because police cannot guarantee their safety. Their solution is stark. If Maccabi fans cannot attend, then the match should be played behind closed doors entirely. This isn't just about fairness to one set of fans. This is about the principle of equal treatment and the dangerous precedent this decision sets. Maccabi Tel Aviv's chief executive, Jack Angelides, has expressed dismay about what this potentially signals. His concerns go beyond this single match. If British authorities cannot guarantee the safety of Israeli football fans, what does this say about Britain's commitment to protecting all its visitors? The team has traveled to other countries where sentiment toward Israeli teams is hostile, yet police were able to provide adequate protection without resorting to blanket bans. The question of police resources and capability has become central to this debate. Critics argue that if West Midlands Police cannot ensure the safety of visiting fans for a football match, this represents a fundamental failure of law enforcement. The force has defended its position, stating they are committed to delivering fair and impartial policing while balancing the public's right to protest with their duty to ensure public safety. These statistics paint a troubling picture of British policing capabilities.
Let's look at the facts. We know that knife crime in England and Wales has been rising for a long time. In 2014, there were just over 27,000 recorded offences involving knives or a sharp instrument. In the space of 5 years, that number had doubled to over 52,000. Last year, there was more than 50,000 such offences, an increase of 4.4% from the previous year. 41% of all homicides in 22 to 23 involved a knife or a similar weapon. I could go on and on. And these numbers point to hundreds of lives being lost to extreme, senseless violence. Each murder leaves behind a grieving family, friends and a community. And since saying I was going to have this debate here, I've been contacted by families who tell me they face unimaginable pain and loss, yet at the same time, they feel like they've not received justice for their loved ones.
When knife crime has doubled in recent years and police forces struggle to maintain order at sporting events, questions arise about whether resources have been properly allocated and whether the right priorities have been set. The inability to guarantee safety at a football match is seen by many as symptomatic of broader challenges facing British law enforcement. The international implications of this decision are significant. UEFA, the governing body of European football, has urged British authorities to ensure that Maccabi fans can attend the match. They want fans to be able to travel and support their team in a safe, secure, and welcoming environment. When the organization that runs European football is calling on British authorities to reverse a security decision, it highlights just how unusual and controversial this situation has become. The timing of this controversy is particularly sensitive. Britain has seen massive pro-Palestinian rallies since the war in Gaza began, with Birmingham being a particular focal point for such demonstrations. The decision to ban Maccabi fans comes against this backdrop of heightened tensions and polarized public opinion. Some politicians, particularly from left-wing and Green parties, have actually backed the ban, with some calling for the wider exclusion of Israeli teams from international competitions. This political division reveals the deep fault lines running through British society. On one side, there are those who argue that football should remain separate from politics and that all fans should be treated equally regardless of their nationality or the actions of their government. On the other side, there are those who believe that sporting events cannot be divorced from broader political realities and that restrictions may be necessary to maintain public safety. West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner Simon Foster has called for an immediate review of the decision. His intervention is significant because it represents an independent voice questioning the judgment of his own police force. Foster has requested to see the written decision of the Safety Advisory Group, the operational plan for the match, and the risk assessment carried out by West Midlands Police. This suggests there may be concerns about the thoroughness or appropriateness of the decision-making process. The broader context of this controversy cannot be ignored. Fan bans are not unheard of in European football, but they are typically based on a history of violence between specific fan groups. In this case, there is no history of violence between Aston Villa and Maccabi fans. The decision is based entirely on external political factors and the potential for protests related to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. This sets a dangerous precedent. If teams can be effectively banned from bringing their supporters based on the foreign policy actions of their government, where does this end? Could fans from other countries find themselves similarly restricted based on their government's international actions? The implications extend far beyond this single match and could fundamentally change how international football operates. The response from Israel has been swift and critical. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar has called the decision shameful and cowardly, urging British authorities to reverse it immediately. This diplomatic pressure adds another layer to what is already a complex situation. When government ministers from other countries are publicly criticizing British security decisions, it highlights the international ramifications of what might seem like a local policing matter. As this story continues to develop, the pressure on the British government continues to mount. A new meeting of the Safety Advisory Group is expected early next week, and West Midlands Police are due to set out what additional resources might be needed to ensure the match can go ahead with all fans present. The government has committed to exploring what additional resources and support are required to allow all fans to attend. But the damage to Britain's reputation may already be done. The image of a country that cannot guarantee the safety of football fans based on their nationality sends a troubling message about British values and capabilities. Whether the government can successfully reverse this decision and ensure that Maccabi fans can attend the match safely will be seen as a test of Britain's commitment to equality, fairness, and its ability to manage complex security challenges in an increasingly polarized world. The coming days will reveal whether political pressure can overcome security concerns or whether this unprecedented ban will stand as a stark reminder of how deeply international conflicts can divide communities and compromise the universal language of football. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the world is watching how Britain handles this crisis of sporting diplomacy.